Peace, family. Chauncey, aka Ukarema, great man of God Media, with another GMOG Media Spotlight. Alright, family. Once again, coming at you live with another heavy topic. This particular topic I'm going to be talking about is the pacification of white supremacy. Alright, so any new listeners out there, please go ahead and subscribe. What I talk about on this channel is I do weekly topics pertaining to systematic racism, which is white supremacy, affecting people of color, melanated people, black people around the world, because racism is a global system. All right, and this is what I talk about on a weekly basis on my channel. And also, you know, I just want to address this. Like I said, what I do, I talk about racism, which is white supremacy, on my channel, and I offer suggestions to try to replace racism, white supremacy, with the system of justice. All right, and I do this for free. Okay, I don't get paid off of YouTube. You know, monetizing your videos is basically, you know, you really have to have 1 million subscribers and a certain amount of views to actually make a lucrative amount of money, plus a lot of partnerships. So there's a lot of things involved with that, and I'm doing this for free. You know, I'm taking my time out, you know, each week to come up with some strategies and some suggestions and perhaps some solutions to eradicate systematic racism, white supremacy, with the system of justice. You know, I take time out, you know, every week to provide, you know, suggestions for the family out there, because this is the system that we're in right now, you know, and until it gets replaced with the system of justice. So I don't get paid for this at all. I'm doing this out of labor of love, because I'm trying to liberate our people. I'm trying to liberate black people. That's my subjective. And you can go to my old channel, which is GMOG Media. That's one word. And you can look at my previous videos and what I've been doing in the community, and also with this channel, GMOGMediaTV. And again, if you haven't subscribed, please do so right now. Go ahead and click that subscribe button, because I'm going to be coming at you weekly with these kind of topics. All right. So, and also today is my birthday. And like I said, I'm doing this out of labor of love. So I'm 36 years old as of today, January 10th. I'm a Capricorn. So it is what it is. But yeah, so let's get right into the topic, the pacification of white supremacy. And the first thing I want to address is this video that went viral. I know I'm kind of late. I'm, you know, like a few days late with this video, but for those who haven't seen the video, it's the video with the white school teacher out in Atlanta. His name is Ron Clark. I believe he has a school called the Ron Clark Academy, and he's dancing with. First of all, his school is, you know, it seems like a pretty good school. You know, I'm just gonna be objective here. I checked out his site out, this the ronclarkacademy.com, and I looked at, you know, his school and his curriculum and all that. It looks pretty good, you know. But he put out a video with his students. He's dancing to the song by D-Lo. Shout out to him. I'm very familiar with his songs, his videos, because my kids love his music. You know, all the D-Lo Shuffle, Bet You Can't Do It Like Me, you know, all that stuff. Chemo, from all that stuff. The bop music scene out in Chicago is something I love. I love just watching them perform and do their songs. It's very, very good, positive music, and I encourage those brothers to keep doing what they're doing, because my kids love, you know, that kind of stuff. And it's just very good to see our people, you know, just coming together with music that's positive, as opposed to the other stuff that you know, the machine, which is the people who operate, you know, the entertainment music airwaves, who push out that information to the people, that's poisoning our youth. But it's a good alternative to have, you know, bop music and stuff like that. That's positive for our kids. But anyway, I'm kind of rambling with that. So this video, Ron Clark Academy, Ron Clark is dancing with the students to D-Lo, Bet You Can't Do It Like Me. And that song is definitely blown up since last year. It came out like around September on YouTube. And right now I think it has over 30 million views, and it's not even an official video. I believe the video was just shot like, looked like it was shot on a cell phone, to be honest with you. But it was D-Lo, Chemo, and two people in the back dancing. And the video and the song has like over 30 million views, so it's blown up. But the teacher is dancing to the track with the students, having fun. And you know, for those who haven't seen it, just Google Ron Clark Academy D-Lo, or actually Ron Clark Academy Bet You Can't Do It Like Me challenge. Just Google that and you'll see it. I'm not gonna play it because of copyright issues with that song, but you can just Google the song, Google the video, and then check it out. But yeah, this goes that particular video I want to address, and with the topic of conversation, the pacification of white supremacy. Why white supremacy pacifies and sustains black people, right? When white people are doing things to quote unquote help black people, or they interact with black people in a positive way, right? And when you look at it on the surface, it's like, oh, okay, that's great. This white person is helping out this black person do schoolwork, or you know, do some things that you'll see on an everyday basis that a black person does, but because a white person doesn't, is ostracized, right? And with this video with Ron Clark dancing with the students, it's ostracized and it went viral because it's something you don't see every day. You don't see a white guy who's actually in rhythm dancing with the black students to the D-Lo song. And he did a pretty good job dancing with the students, right? And the thing about that is, when you look at it on the surface, it's a cute video. It's cute, it's positive, you know, it shows that it's a way for the teacher to connect with the students because of dance, because of, you know, that's what they like. They like to dance, they like to sing, and they like to rap. You know, black people have innate characteristics of dancing and rhythm and arts. That's in our blood. You know, that's something that you can't extract from us. So when you see a white teacher dancing with the students like that, you know, it's something that you really have to marvel over, like, wow. And that's why the video went viral, you know. But when you further analyze the situation, right, with the pacification of white supremacy, which is what I'm talking about, when you further analyze it and you look at what he's doing with his school, right, and the fact that his school, he has a lot of black people, black students enrolled in his school, and he also hires a lot of black staff, teachers, you know, people in the executive offices, etc. So he hires and enrolls a lot of black people in his school, which is actually great. It's great. But I'm gonna, like I said, with this channel, I talk about racism, white supremacy, and I deal with the facts. All right, I'm not calling this man racist by any means. I'm looking at it from an analytical perspective. So, with Ron Clark, and I looked at his website, he has a very different approach to curriculum, you know, teaching the children. Very creative. It's another great way to teach your students, which is great, right? But honestly, I'm gonna just be flat out, right? His school is not African centered. Okay, he's coming from a Eurocentric perspective, right? But at the same time, he tries to connect with his students with what's going on in today's society in terms of hip hop, dance, you know, rap and stuff like that. He has different approaches to connect with his students, and which is a good thing. But at the same time, it's coming from a Eurocentric perspective. Okay, so it's definitely not African centered. If you want to support an African centered school, there's many out there, even homeschooling, that your kids can do, and you know, and stuff like that. But with Ron Clark, it's coming from a Eurocentric perspective. Okay, but again, it's another way. His way is creative. So I'm pretty sure when he's talking about history, right? When he's talking about African American quote unquote history, he's not going to get to the fundamentals of, and I'm assuming because that's what these kind of schools, these right run schools, that's how they operate. They don't tell you the truth with African American history, right? Because our history did not start during slavery. Our history started way before slavery, right? And, you know, things of that nature. You don't see that kind of curriculum being taught in white-owned or white-funded schools. It's never happened to my knowledge. And so with the pacification of white supremacy and how that Ron Clark video that went viral connects to that topic is simple. When you read the comments on the video, a lot of people are praising, you know, what he's doing. He's saying, well, this is the greatest man alive, and this is the way we need to teach our children or teach our youth. We have to connect with our students, right? And the reason why it pacifies black people, because they see a white man connecting with black youth, and obviously they see nothing wrong with that. But you look at it and you analyze the situation, you say, wait a minute. First of all, why do we have to be subjugated into dancing? Right? Is that how you think all black people need to learn, is by using rap music to connect to our youth? You know, can't we just, you know, actually sit down, read, and take a test, right? Isn't that possible? Do we have to do things like dancing with our students, having a battle rap challenge and that kind of thing? Do we have to do that to connect to our students? Are we subjugated into that particular, you know, realm? Right? So that's how you have to look at that situation, because we are dynamic as people. We have thousands and thousands and thousands of years of rich history that is very dynamic, and we are not just known for one thing. Okay, we are very expressive people. We love the arts, and dancing, singing, rapping, and all that stuff is a part of the arts, right? But we're more than dancing, you know, doing the D-Lo shuffle, the Millie Wop, and all that kind of stuff, the nay-nay. We're more than that, and that's not the only way to connect to our youth. Okay, if you go to, like I mentioned, an African-centered school, a brother out in Chicago by the name of Marcus Klein, there's a video out that he has, which is called "How to Build an African-Centered School," and he has a great curriculum on how to do so. Strictly curriculum. No dancing involved, no singing, no battle rap, no none of that stuff. Straight curriculum, and he has a very high ratio of students excelling and graduating from his class and his school. And it's a proven curriculum that works for melanated people, for our people. So, like I said, we're more than dancing and singing and rapping to connect to our students to learn. We're way more than that. All right. So another example of black people being pacified is one of my favorite producers of all time from the Wu-Tang Clan, the RZA. Okay, and I've been a huge fan of Wu-Tang since the beginning. You know, they came out in '93. I was 13. I got all the albums, all their first albums, classics. I still follow their career very closely to this day. And you know, it's just, like I said, I'm a huge fan of Wu-Tang, RZA, all of them. He was recently on a show that was called With All Due Respect, I believe on the Bloomberg channel, and a guy was interviewing him, and I'm gonna play the clip actually so you guys can see what I'm talking about before I make a comment. So let me play the clip right now. Here you go.
In the last year, at least, one of the political movements that's had the most energy around it has been Black Lives Matter, right?
Yes.
Because of all the stuff that's happened in a lot of cities around the country with police brutality and wrongful deaths and so on. When you see that movement kind of taking shape, what do you think of that when you see Black Lives Matter?
Of course Black lives matter. You know what I mean? All lives matter. I'll stop eating meat because their life matter to me. You know what I mean? I don't think it's necessary for us to grow a cow to kill it. I don't think it's necessary for, if I'm in law enforcement, and look, I wanted to be in law enforcement as a kid.
Really?
Yeah, come on, man. Berettas? I grew up with Berettas, Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah.
Come on, that's cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You like Starsky or Hutch? Which one do you like better?
Depending on what episode.
Okay.
Right? Okay. But I'm just saying, you wanted to be these guys, you know what I mean? And then to come when you grow up and you see what's happening, the image of that is being taken away. You know, in the old days, you're a cop, you let him in your house and give him a cookie and milk. Now you're like, yo, you know. So all lives matter. And I love what the police do for our society. I love the idea of it, to serve and protect. And as long as those who are upholding that idea, then they are beneficiary to society. But for those who would ever lose that focus, you know what I mean? Whether they lose it through fear, through stress, or do not being properly trained, and they are allowed to go in the streets, and how could you enforce law if you don't understand law? But when you think about, you know, some of the brothers who are being brutalized by the police, you know what I mean? You also gotta have them take a look in the mirror at the image we portray. If you think, if I'm a cop, and every time I see a young black youth, whether I watch them on TV, movies, or just see them hanging out, and they're not looking, you know, properly dressed, properly refined, you know, carrying themselves, conducting themselves the proper hours of the day, things that a man does, you know what I mean? You're going to have a certain kind of fear and stereotype of them. And that's when I tell my sons, I'm like, yo, I say, if you're going somewhere, you don't have to wear a hoodie, and you know, we live in New York, so hoodies and all that is all good. But sometimes, button up your shirt, you know, clean up, look like a young man, get out a little kid, you know what I mean? So I think that's another big issue we gotta pay attention to is the image that we portray that could invoke a fear to a white officer or to any officer.
Okay, so I actually don't really have a problem with what RZA said. A lot of people are talking about, oh, RZA's a sellout and this and that, and I disagree. I don't think RZA's a sellout. I think RZA sold in. What I mean by he sold in is that he sold in to ensure he is supported by white people when he decided to start acting and making films in Hollywood. So when you get movies being financed by Jewish-owned Hollywood studio production companies, you have to sell in so they can support what you're doing. Now remember, RZA came from a background of being a 5%, of being a member of the nation of gods and earth, you know, and they are a pro-black ideology. All right, they believe the black man is God, you know, the black man is the original man, that kind of thing. You go back into the Gravedigger's second album, right? He has a song called 12 Jewels, okay? He talks about, he breaks down the 12 jewels in the nation of gods and herbs. Okay. That was way back in what, 96, 97, that album dropped. And so if he wanted to say that kind of pro-black ideology, right, in that response, he wouldn't say all lives matter and kind of be politically correct about it, based off what he said in that track, 12 Jewels. So that particular ideology with the 5%er, he would never say that in the mainstream media, because he has too much money on the table to lose if he decided to say those kind of pro-black ideology. If he said that, he would be apologizing, and more than likely he'll be blackballed from Hollywood if he decided to say those kind of things. The black man is God, and you know, the black man is the original man, and that kind of thing, right? But again, like I said, RZA did not sell out, he sold in. Okay, so that response was very politically correct to say, you know, all lives matter, you know, and that kind of thing. For me, what I would have said is this. I would have basically said, yes, all lives do matter, but particularly Black lives matter because we see many atrocities, many injustices throughout the post Jim Crow era, right? Post 1965, that Black people are being mistreated, being gunned down, being legally lynched and murdered behind the system that is not in favor for Black people. Okay, and there's many examples of this. So we have to highlight Black Lives Matter because it seems like the system doesn't think Black Lives Matter. It has to be highlighted. Okay, now that's what I would have said. But to go back into Black Lives Matter, you can go back to my older vlogs where I break down where Black Lives Matter came from, because it was funded by George Soros, who's a multi-billionaire suspected white supremacist. He started the foundation, Open Society Foundation, right? And he had 3 African-American women run those foundations, and that's how the actual Black Lives Matter movement started, through Open Society Foundation, because it was funded by George Soros. Okay, so whoever finances your intellectual property, whatever the case may be, they have a say into your agenda. Okay, and RZA is exactly in that same predicament. Okay, so he has white people or Jewish owned Hollywood studios financing his movies, okay, and he doesn't want to lose that kind of money, which is why he had the politically correct way to respond to that question. All lives matter, right? And also to segue into these mega church white pastors, right? So you have people like Joel Osteen, okay, who has a huge congregation, and a huge congregation with a lot of African Americans in his church, which, you know, they go to his church frequently, right? When you have a white pastor with these mega churches and they have a huge congregation of Black people, that is also another form of pacification for Black people. Why? Because you have, and that's another part of what I talk about on this channel, is white supremacy runs all 9 areas of activity, which is economics, entertainment, education, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. Okay, and white supremacy is a religion, but particularly in the Christianity phase, when you have these white megachurch pastors, preachers, or what have you, with very large African-American congregations, the reason why that is a pacification for Black people, simple. They use a doctrine called the Bible, right? And whenever there is a specific need to address the black community, or the so-called black community, where we definitely need tangible help, they're never to be found. Okay? They're never to be found. With all of these cases going on, Tamir Rice, Sandra Bland, all right, the list goes on. Where are these white mega church pastors, right, with these very large African-American congregations? Where are they? Okay. And I'm pretty sure there's other things that are not in the mainstream media that are being swept under the rug, which they can address locally in their hometown, and they're not doing so. So, you know, again, when you have these situations where white people are in positions of power, and they, on the outside, on the surface side, right, they're hiring a lot of black people, they're enrolling a lot of black people in their schools, if they're running a school, or, you know, they have a church or what have you. Oh wow, it looks great on the outside, because according to the government, we live in a post-racial era, which is why they removed the voting rights, the 1965 Voting Rights Act, right? They left it up to the states. So that particular Voting Rights Act law, they deemed it as being irrelevant because it's not in today's times. We live in a post-racial era, okay, which is definitely not true. We live in a system of racism, white supremacy, and it's a global system. It's the most powerful system on the planet, bar none. All right. So again, the pacification of white supremacy, you have to look out for those signs. On the surface, it looks great. Okay. You got a mega church pastor, you got a white-owned business that's hiring lots of black people, right? But when it comes down to specific needs for black people, they're never to be found. Never to be found. And same thing with, like I mentioned, with Black Lives Matter. When you have to have an agenda specifically for black people because we are being mistreated on a daily basis, do we have any laws to protect black people? Right? Like in my other vlogs, I talk about the LGBT, the lesbian, gay, and bisexual community, where they have a whole bunch of laws and statutes to protect that group. But black people, we don't have any kind of laws to protect our people, such as that law on the books. Are any non-black people helping that cause? Just asking a question. All right, family. So that's basically what I wanted to talk about, the pacification of white supremacy. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Like I said, I'm going to be talking about topics dealing with racism, white supremacy on a weekly basis. All right, family. And again, look out for my next vlog. It's going to be coming out in the next week or so. I'm probably going to be dropping it on, today's Sunday, probably on the weekend, Saturday or Sunday. All right, family. So be on the lookout for that. All right, and hit me up on Twitter also. My Twitter is UKAREMA, B as in boy, EATZ. Okay, email is GMOGmedia@gmail.com if you have any inquiries, questions, etc., etc. All right, family. Chauncey, aka Ukarema, great man of God media. Peace and black power.